Yeah. Oh. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Shankaram Lokashankaram Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Tato yuddha pariśrāntaṃ samarē chintayāsthitam rāvaṇaṃ chāgratō dṛṣṭvā yuddhāya samupasthitam daivataiścha samāgamya dṛṣṭumabhyāgatō raṇam upāgamyābravīdrāmaṃ agastyō bhagavān ṛṣiḥ. In these two verses there is some difficulty in the anvaya, how to connect the words, because the words are jumbled. You have to connect them correctly. Karta, karma, kriya. That way you have to connect. I have explained it adequately, but maybe I have confused you instead of explaining it to you. I don't know. So I will put the words in the correct order one more time. You may say following me. Daivataihi samāgamya raṇam draṣṭum abhyāgataha bhagavān agastyō ṛṣiḥ. That is the karta. Yuddha pariśrāntaṃ agratō rāvaṇaṃ dṛṣṭvā agrataha yuddhāya samupasthitam rāvaṇaṃ dṛṣṭvā chintayāsthitam rāmam. That is the second. Upāgamya abravīd. Now it is all complete. So all the dvitiya vibhaktis go to Rāmam. Prathama vibhaktis go to Agastya. Nothing goes to Ravana. Ravana is a part. So I have explained the meaning. In this two words you want to pay attention. That is, pariśrāntaṃ means fatigued. Chintayāsthitam means very anxious, afflicted by anxiety. So that is Rama. Rama is very fatigued because tataha, after a long drawn battle for weeks together, he is very fatigued. Pariśrāntaṃ. And also he is very much anxious. There is anxiety. In a way that explains our situation. We are also tired in life. The youth have a lot of vitality and enthusiasm in them, but by the time we come to middle age, the samsara catches up with us. And by the time we enter into the old age, we become joyless, and vitality is lost, and we become anxious. To put it bluntly, we are anxious people. This is how we live. And the fatigue that we are talking about, you have to pay attention to that. Fatigue is of four kinds. The physical fatigue, nervous fatigue, emotional fatigue, and intellectual fatigue. No fatigue for Atma, okay? Fatigue is only for the apparatus. So you have the apparatus, physico-psychic apparatus. If you don't like the word psychic, then you may say physico-psychological apparatus. Or to put it simply, psycho-physical apparatus. That is what you have. Apparatus cannot function by itself. The apparatus has to be powered, like any gadget has to be powered by electricity. Similarly, this psycho-physical apparatus also needs to be powered by the Atma. That is Atma. Therefore, here is the apparatus and here is Atma. Even in the case of electricity example, electricity never gets fatigued or spoiled or broken. Those things do not happen to electricity. All of those things happen to the fan. The fan was working for years and years. Now it is gone. It is broken. It is not working properly anymore. All those things are there for the gadget, not for electricity. Same is the case here. But because this is not Atma Bodha class, but because in a way we are one with the apparatus. We live in identification with the apparatus. So here we are not talking of the distance between the Atma and the apparatus. The topic is different. Here we are looking at a poem, a kavya, and also we are looking at an upasana. So I will discuss about upasana also, but before that, this fourfold fatigue we have to understand. And also we have to understand anxiety. These two we have to understand. So, the physical fatigue, the first one. Intellectual fatigue is the fourth one. These are very useful and very important. We need them. By the end of the day, you should be able to say, I am very tired today, physically. Means you must have done a lot of hard work, you must have gone for gym, and then walking, and a lot of physical work you must have done by the end of the day, and so that you sit in the chair and say, oh, I am very tired today, it's a long day. You should be able to say that. Therefore, physical fatigue is very much welcome. One. The fourth is the intellectual fatigue. That is also very much welcome. You should welcome it. How do you get intellectual fatigue? By studying the books and classical, by doing mathematics or studying physics or chemistry or classics like Sanskrit language and literature, grammar, English, studying some classics in English, whatever. Even in vernacular like Telugu, etc. By studying the classical literature, the languages and the sciences, your intellect is put to hard work, and by the end of the day you should be able to say, oh, now I am fatigued, enough for the day. You should be able to say that. So when we were studying grammar, vyakaranam and other things, by the time it is 50 to 60 minutes, enough for one class, enough. We will pursue it tomorrow. That is the way we used to feel, because the grammar, Sanskrit grammar, challenges the intellect. The brain cells must be firing and firing and firing. How long will they fire? Therefore, by the end of the day, oh, I am very much tired intellectually. You should be able to say that. So as long as you keep these two fatigues going, physical as well as intellectual, you will remain in good health. Then in the middle there are two fatigues, the nervous and emotional. Nervous fatigue, it comes in the context of anxiety. You become nervous and anxious, they are kind of synonyms. This anxiety, you may put it in the mind or you may put it in the nervous system. But the nervous system and the mind are very closely connected. For the purpose of analysis, we are dividing into various compartments, but they are not really watertight compartments. So the nervous system and the mind, the emotional mind, they are closely connected, but still for the purpose of understanding, we look at them separately. The nervous system has what is called sympathetic and parasympathetic, that kind of a separation it has. The further details the physicians know. Broadly speaking, whenever you have to exert, there is a goal to be reached. You have to catch hold of something, you have to accomplish it, you have to achieve it. You have to run away from some danger, from some threat, you have to run away. In all such situations, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Like you have to win a running race, then it is the sympathetic nervous system which helps you to run fast and fast and fast and fast. You have to finish this program, this computer program by evening. The target is there, you have to finish it. You have to work on it more and more and more. Then it is the sympathetic nervous system which pushes you in that direction. Whether you reach it or not, you become nervous certainly. Whether you finish the target or not, that will happen sometimes, may not happen some other times. But you become nervous. That is how the sympathetic nervous system pushes us. In terms of gunas, sympathetic nervous system corresponds to rajoguna. And then parasympathetic nervous system, it is exactly the opposite. All the trouble created by sympathetic nervous system is neutralized by parasympathetic nervous system. So here there are physicians, and I am taking some calculated risk and talking about these things. So ambition, greed, desire, etc., and fear, the opposite, fear, insecurity, the sense of threat, etc., they excite the sympathetic nervous system, which is not good for health. That is how you get fatigued by the nervous system. But fortunately, there is the mechanism of parasympathetic within the nervous system, which cools down the nervous system. It is like one mechanism heats and the other mechanism cools. And so much heat that we generate in the nervous system by our greed and ambition and our fears and our superstitions, etc., so much heat we generate in the nervous system that the parasympathetic nervous system is unable to catch up. You can put it in the form of a graph, y-axis, x-axis. So you are excited, then the parasympathetic is trying to cool it down, but in the meanwhile you are further excited. The parasympathetic trying to cool down, but you are further excited. These computer games, etc., which young people play, they excite the nervous system before it is brought down to the original state, natural state, where it is completely cooled. Before that happens, the excitement takes over again. Like that, at the end of the day, you become fatigued in the nervous system. You followed that point? You should avoid it. That is pariśrāntaṃ and chintayāsthitam. Both put together I am explaining. You should avoid nervous fatigue. For example, you quarrel with a person. That makes you very excited in the nervous system. You should avoid it. You should not be very self-assertive, should not be very greedy. My word should prevail. That should not be there. If it is there, then you will be tired by the end of the day. The nervous fatigue takes over. So you should, that's why we suggest a few things to overcome this nervous fatigue. Like, suppose you hear the telephone bell ringing, now you have to answer it. Before answering, take 2 deep breaths and then lift the phone and answer it. The old-fashioned way. In modern times, you answer it by touching the screen. So before you answer, take 2 deep breaths. That what it does is, it allows the sympathetic nervous system to cool down, and also it gives a space. It creates that space, that cognitive space between you and the report that is coming through the phone call. Just take 2 deep breaths and answer. In the meanwhile, heavens will not fall. But suppose the moment it rings, you are anxious you create anxiety for yourself. You just put it, hello, who is that? Like that you start. That shows that you are putting the nervous system in a mode in the excitement mode, which is not good. You do that all through the day. By the end of the day, you will be very much fatigued in the nervous system. This you should avoid. And then when you are thinking and thinking and thinking, you become fatigued. The nervous system gets fatigued. But if you replace thinking with awareness, you become aware. There is a difference between the two. They are not the same. You are aware means you are not thinking. You are thinking means you are lost in the flow of thoughts. You are not aware anymore. Therefore, once you know the distinction between the two clearly and replace thinking with awareness, the nervous system will cool down. Suppose somebody is reporting by telephone something, some situation which is not very favorable. Somebody is reporting. Then you are aware of what he is saying. You are aware. You are not feverishly thinking about what he is saying and reacting immediately. You should not do that. You become aware. Listen to what the other person says coolly. And then give attention to it in your time. And so then a response will come from that awareness. The opposite of that is, you are anxious and you listen to the report and immediately start reacting. That makes you fatigued in the nervous system. Anyway, I try to explain it. Having mentioned something, I need to make a job of it. So that is the nervous fatigue. You should avoid it. That is pariśrāntaṃ. Rama is very much fatigued, nervous, and then emotional. Chintayāsthitam. What happened to Sita? This Ravana, when he cannot fight with Rama, he can order people in the Lanka to hurt Sita. He could be very sadistic and revengeful. He cannot do anything to Rama in the battlefield. Therefore, in his turn, he will show all his anger and frustration over Sita. It is possible. And therefore, Rama is very much anxious and worried about the welfare of Sita. And also, can I win this battle? How this battle is going to take shape? And will I be able to slay this villain and get Sita back? That kind of anxiety, like a college student about to go to final exam, so he becomes anxious. So such a situation is there for Rama also. And that is emotional fatigue. In our life, we should avoid emotional fatigue. People, they encourage emotions. And we advise, don't be so emotional about it. They resist it also. Good teaching, people resist. This is our experience. It is there everywhere. A good teaching, good message, people resist. Suppose in life, some unexpected turn happens. Then people start crying bitterly, beating the breast or beating the chest. So like that, people, they react in a very emotional way. They are given to emotions. Like today is our 14th marriage anniversary day. That is called emotionalism. What do you mean by marriage anniversary? Let it pass apart. Just be calm and quiet. Today is my 45th birthday. That is another emotionalism. So everybody should clap. Happy birthday to you, etc. And all this is emotionalism. And then, so he is coming home from the hospital, put all balloons up, a dozen balloons everywhere. He should not have gone to the hospital in the first place. Had he maintained proper habits, he should have remained at home and hale and healthy. Instead of that, he doesn't follow the proper health habits and goes to hospital, and there they do some kind of a hospital people will not make you perfectly healthy. They do some repair job and send you back. And they know that you will come back again. Some patchwork they do and send back. What is their big oh, he is coming, welcome home back, like that, all emotionalism. This emotionalism, as it is going on, it looks very encouraging and very entertaining. But it will create, when things go bad, they take an ugly turn or a wrong turn, then all these emotions will boil over. And you will be totally clean bowled emotionally. And there will be so much of fatigue. Oh, in my life, I never expected that I will lose this person, but now I have lost. That kind of emotional fatigue, a lot of emotionalism. I don't know how to explain it. You know, you understand it very well. So people should not, emotionalism has no value at all. Sentimentality and emotionalism. Rama is caught in that. He is not supposed to be like that. Suppose a student going to write the final exam, suppose I fail, then what will happen? I will not be able to live up to the expectations of my parents. They want me to get a first rank. I may not be able to get it. Then parents will become unhappy and I may not get seat in that particular college. If that is the mood in which the student goes to write the exam, what will happen to the exam? He will fail in it. That is the situation in which Rama is found. Therefore, we have to understand, this is all symbolic, entirely symbolic. Ramayanam is symbolic. Bhagavad Gita is also symbolic. We have to take it as symbolic. There is a historic element, I already mentioned it, but you should rise above the historic element because it is not a history book and we are not students of history. We have to understand the symbolism associated with the narrative. And so that is the first two verses. And Agastya Maharshi understood the difficult situation in which Rama is put himself. Because Rama is the most capable warrior. He can slay Ravana without any hesitation. Ravana cannot stand before Rama. So Rama has seen bigger battles. He has defeated Vali in a way. And then he has defeated 14,000 warriors of Ravana in the Dandaka land. So all that is behind him. And he has defeated Maricha and Subahu even in a very young age. So Rama is one of the greatest of the warriors and archers. And nobody can stand before him. Certainly Ravana cannot stand. But the point is, Rama should be in the right set of the mindset, in the right mindset, enthusiastic, self-confident, sure of his prowess and his ability. Then he should enter into the battlefield. Not with this kind of nervous and emotional fatigue. That is not the way. Therefore, the Rishi Agastya, he thought the situation has to be addressed immediately, otherwise things may go wrong. In the last part of this battle, things should not go wrong, Having come up to this point, Rama should not get a setback at this last moment. Therefore, Agastya Maharshi, he decided to address this difficult situation at the right moment. In another 5 minutes, Rama is going to enter into the battlefield. And that is when Agastya Maharshi enters into the scene and gives a good advice to Rama. You got the point? That is the first two verses. Who is this Agastya Maharshi? He is not some kind of an ancient rishi, only name is and nothing else we know about him. It's not like that. He is a historic character. Agastya Maharshi, he was in the north. And he came to the south, Tamil Nadu, to be precise. And the story this is how Purana is. In Purana, a normal event is converted into some kind of a mysterious thing. Like among these rishis, they were mostly living in the north, on the banks of river Sindhu, Ganga, etc. They were not coming to the south, because in the south, the hegemony of Ravana was ruling. Ravana was there and his cohorts were there in the south. Therefore, mostly these rishis avoided the south. Mostly. And Agastya was one of them. He was in the north. But he decided that he will migrate to the south. And therefore, he started his journey by foot in those days. And he crossed the Vindhya mountains, that is in Madhya Pradesh. You have to cross that. These mountains, you have to find a pass through which you have to cross. Unless you discover a pass, you cannot cross a mountain range. There is no way of going up the mountain and coming down. You have to find a pass, a gap, what they call wind gap, water gap, some such thing you have to find. A land gap you have to find. That is what is called a pass. And through that pass, he has to cross the mountain range. That he did and arrived in the south. And so the Purana immediately says, Vindhya is personified. Vindhya is a mountain, and so mountain becomes a person, male, like Himavan. Himalaya is a male, and he is married to a woman. And her name is Manaka or something is there. And they have a daughter called Parvati. And they, like every Indian family, they are anxious to get the daughter married, All these stories reflect the social context of the society, the emotional context of the society. You can see in that. The parents, Himavan and Manaka, I remember, his wife, they were anxious to get their young daughter Parvati, get married. And she wants to marry Shiva. Shiva is a very old-fashioned guy, doesn't dress properly, puts ashes to the face. And how come she marries him? How the hell she could think of even loving such a person? She should marry like Indra, Varuna, Agni, they are all waiting in line. And she should select one of them and marry one of these gods, not Shiva. Therefore, Manaka says, no, dismiss this match. No, we don't want it. And Himavan was in a dilemma. So this is how the Parvata, the mountain becomes a person like you and me. That is called Purana, called personification. Now the Vindhya becomes a person. He notices, oh, this Rishi, no Rishi till today crossed me. Crossing me is like insulting me. And this man wants to cross me, I don't allow him. He stands tall so that Agastya cannot cross. But then Agastya, bend down, gives a slap and bend down. And Vindhya bends because he cannot stand before the power of tapas, austerity, etc., of Agastya. And therefore, very reluctantly, Vindhya mountain, he bends and allows the Agastya Maharshi to pass and again stands straight so that nobody else can pass. Did you hear this story? This is called Purana. Suppose people take this literally. What do you think of their intellectual quotient? How to understand these people? Just I got an opportunity to explain how the Puranic stories are spun out. Suppose I say, it's a beautiful poetic imagination, then it is really wonderful to enjoy it. You can enjoy it because the poet has really imagined very well. But if you take it literally, then it becomes silly. It sounds silly. Anyway, coming back to the point, Agastya Maharshi, among these great rishis, he was more or less the first one to cross the barrier of Vindhya mountains and enter into the south. And he comes to Tamil Nadu. Do you know, recently our Prime Minister has also said, among all Indian languages, Tamil is the most ancient. He said that. Did you notice that? Tamil happens to be the most ancient language among all Dravidian languages. So there is a set of languages called Dravidian languages, Tamil, Telugu, and all regional variations of Telugu, Tamil, etc., they are called Mandalika. The same Telugu in Telangana they speak in one way, in Sarkar districts they speak it differently, in Nellore, etc., they speak differently. So as in same language, in different regions it will have a different accent. Same is the case with Tamil. Then Kannada and Malayala, these are the 4 languages with a few other dialects. These are all, they constitute a family called Dravidian languages. And Agastya Maharshi came to Tamil Nadu, he studied the language of Tamil and he wrote the grammar for Tamil. Even today, Agastya's grammar for Tamil is very valid. Okay, that is the Agastya Maharshi. And now he is on hand because he is in south already and the battle is taking place in Sri Lanka. So he arrived in Sri Lanka, or Lanka, not Sri Lanka, Lanka, okay? And therefore, he approaches Rāma, upāgamyā, he comes near Rāma, and now he is addressing Rāma. You got it? That is the first 2 verses. Next verse. Rāma Rāma mahābāhō śṛṇu guhyaṃ sanātanam yena sarvā narīn vatsa samarē vijayishyasi. So before I proceed any further, I have to answer one question which is very relevant. Yesterday I was talking about the evolution of the scriptural literature from beginning from Vedas, then the 2 epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata in that sequence, and then the proliferation of a variety of Puranas and other Smritis. I was saying that Ramayana leans towards Veda, whereas Mahabharata leans towards the Puranas. That was what I meant. I did not mean that Puranas have influenced Mahabharata. They cannot. Because Purana, first Mahabharata, then Puranas. Puranas cannot influence Mahabharata because they are of a later age. That is the question about. In fact, the Puranic style of storytelling, Puranic style, means a normal event, understandable event, a special event it could be, but you create some miracle in it, put some miracle in it, make it mysterious. That is the Puranic style. Just now I have told you Vindhya example. That is the Puranic style of telling a story. A normal event is taken and a lot of mystery and miracle are incorporated into it. That is how Purana is. And that element, that Puranic thinking, has already entered into the literature in Mahabharata itself. And then it continued further into the Puranic literature. About Mahabharata, to begin with, it was a epic of 25,000 verses, a little bigger than Ramayana to begin with. But later, so much of Puranic spin has entered into it, so much of things are extrapolated into it, so many things were added into it, that today it is a big volume of 110,000 verses. So now you can understand how many verses are added to the original. 25,000 verses is the original and 85,000 verses are added. If you take the volumes printed by Gita Press of Mahabharata, it comes in 6 big volumes, and the editor, who is a great scholar, he has pointed out sections which are extrapolations, which are not original. He points out, he puts in brackets. So this bracket begins in, say, 112th page. The extrapolation started there. It runs up to 200th page. There the bracket closes. That means between 112th page and 200th page, what all you find, it is all an extrapolation. It has nothing to do with the original Mahabharata. For example, in the original Mahabharata, Maya Sabha, you must have heard the story of Maya Sabha. It was described by the poet Vyasa Maharshi in a verse, in a canto or 2. Then begins the extrapolation. Maya Sabha, which is Dharmaraja's court. Now Agni Loka, Agni has a court, Agni Deva has a court, and that is described in one big canto. Then in Yamaloka, Yama Dharmaraja has a court, and that is a building. And it is like describe the parliament buildings of all the countries. So Yama Dharmaraja has a court called Yama Sabha. There is a name for it. Sanyamani, that is its name. Agni has a court, that is described. And then Varuna has a court underneath the water, full of water and all that. And that is described in one canto. Like that, canto after canto after canto. So all the stories and descriptions which have nothing to do with the regular story of Mahabharata are incorporated there. All of that are recognized as extrapolations. This is how Mahabharata, original is this much, editions are this much, so that is the Mahabharata you have today. And all the editions, they can be considered as Puranic in nature. That means mythological stories are incorporated into the epic. Therefore, that is what I was meaning, that is what I meant, that Mahabharata is more towards Puranic literature than towards Veda. Whereas Ramayana of Valmiki is more towards Veda than towards Puranic literature. That is what I was saying. Now that point is very clear, right? So now let us progress further into the verse number 3. You can see the expression mahābāhō, you hear it in Bhagavad Gita many times, it came from Ramayana. They are characteristic expressions that they are not copied or copied. They are not, it is not a copy, it is not plagiarism. It is a good expression. You notice it, that it is a beautiful expression, and you use it. Knowingly, openly, you copy it. It is not, I don't know whether the word copy, you can say copy, but it is not imitation, it is not plagiarism. So nobody is trying to say that this expression is my own or any such thing. It is nicely taken from Ramayana and incorporated in Mahabharata. There are many such expressions. So in fact, there is a research, so much research on the similarities in the language and in the storytelling, etc., and in the descriptions, etc., between Ramayana and Mahabharata. There is so much of research in that area. Therefore, so mahābāhō, wherever you see in Gita, that has come from Ramayana. So Rama is addressed as mahābāhō. Mahābāhō does not mean the one with big hands. It is, Maha is big. It is not big hands. It is strong hands, mighty arms. The one with mighty arms. That is how you have to translate. Big hands means there is a proportion for hands. Some people long, so they are long in stature. Their hands also will be slightly longer than normal. That is beautiful. Ajanubahuhu. That is how they describe. So these hands, they almost touch up to the knees, something like that. Ajanubahuhu. Like that the descriptions are there. That is valid. Only that much. Not very long hands and all that. Then what is the meaning of mahābāhuhu? So the one with mighty arms, that is the battlefield, you know. Here it is not the length of the hands that is important. Here it is the strength of the hands that is important. Whether it is Gita or Ramayana. Because both are in the context of a battlefield. And so mahābāhō. Do you see the concern in the words of Agastya Maharshi? Rama Rama mahābāhō. Don't you see the concern in those words? Hey Rama, what are you? There is no blood in your face. What happened to you? Why do you look so anxious and unhappy, and as if you have no heart, you have no enthusiasm in the battlefield? Why do you look like that? That is the idea of saying Rama Rama mahābāhō. Please listen, śṛṇu. So pay attention. śṛṇu means anyway he is listening. So why to say again you listen? All of you, now you listen to me. They are all listening anyway. So why to say śṛṇu again? So the idea is to make them alert. Pay attention to what I am saying. What is it that you are going to say? Guhyaṃ. So sanātanam, I am going to teach you a particular upāsana. Guhyaṃ is upāsana. How do you know guhyaṃ is upāsana? Because guha is the heart. Yo veda nihitam guhayam, the heart. And what you contemplate in your heart is upāsana. What you think in your head is samsara. What you contemplate in the heart is upāsana. That's why for upāsana, you have to pay attention to abide in the heart. You have to put yourself in the heart. You have to stay in the heart. Don't ask me how. How can, there is no how, just do it. Be in the heart, don't be in the head. Because head is the seat of me and mine. You can examine also. I am demonstrating. Suppose I sit and sit alert and close the eyes and locate. Try to locate the me and mine. So is it the me and mine? Is it in the legs? No. Is it in the tummy? Not that much. Is it in the neck? No. In the hands? No. It is in the head? Yes. Me and mine is in the head. And the alternate seat, one is the head, the other is the heart. Only two. That's why when they say chakra meditation and all that, one problem with that kind of meditation which I have in mind is that it encourages you. How come? Just let me fix this properly. It encourages you to take that power from Mooladhara, from the base of the backbone or the spine, to the head, to the brain. You have to go up and suppose you come up to the heart, it is not enough. You cannot stop there. You have to take that power to the throat, then between the eyebrows, and then cross. There are two more obstacles. Bhramara guha, I told you, sinus. And then there is another, whatever that means, bankanala, whatever that means. So that you have to cross. Nala is a nerve. Nala is a vessel, an artery or some such thing. It is called nala. Banka, I don't know what it means. So there must be some kind of some nerve center here, whatever. And so you have to cross it and arrive at Sahasrara. The brain indeed looks like Sahasrara. It has two parts, left and right, and each is having so many folds in it. Say, let us say 500 folds here and 500 folds there. That becomes Sahasrara. And there Lord Shiva is there. This is how the meditation is encouraged. Therefore, in that meditation, the focus will be about the head. No surprise, it is all Dvaita. Because head is the seat of me and mine. And Ramana Maharshi, he discouraged it. He said, you need not go up, you better come down. No ascendance, you require descendance. Get down. From the head, you come into the heart. He said, in some meditations, they talk a lot about ascending, but I suggest you need not ascend, you better descend. You are living in the head. You examine yourself in your life in a given day, how much you are in the head and how much you are in the heart. I suggest that you are mostly in the head only. When both husband and wife are located firmly in the head, it will not take much time before they start quarreling with each other. If one of them descends from the head to the heart, then the samsara will be, the family life will be going on. With some ups and downs, still it will be going on. Because one of them, at least partially, is in the heart. But if both of them in the heart, it will be like Rama and Sita, Sita Rama. So, therefore, you have to contemplate in the heart. The word upasana is not there. It need not be. The word guhyaṃ is enough. Because guhayam bhavam guhyaṃ. Guha is always the cave of the heart. Cave is enough. It is said cave. What is this cave inside you? Not the head. Head is not the cave. It is a thousand-fold wala, the seat of me and mine. Head is not the cave. Cave is a secret place. Cave is always a secret place. Therefore, what is the secret place in your anatomy? What is the secret place? The heart. That's why where do you hide all your secrets? In the heart. Okay? And the upasana is the secret. Means it is very, what is secret? Which is very precious, that is secret. The word secret is misunderstood. It can be understood in two ways. One, you hide it. Don't let anybody look at it or see it or know it. That is one secret. The other secret is, it is not about hiding. It is about the preciousness. It is so precious. That's why it becomes rahasyam, secret. The word rahasya, you know, rahasi bhavam. Rahasi means in aloofness. In that aloneness it is. And that aloneness is here. And there you contemplate. It abides here. And it is the heart. And it is the lotus also. Pundarika, it is the lotus also. Of course, not the lotus which has fully bloomed. The lotus which is a bud, the lotus bud really speaking. That is the heart. And the lotus bud, not upward, an upside down turned lotus bud. That is the heart, Hṛdaya Pundarika. And all contemplation should be here. You see, in life, we are head people. We are born as heart people, but as we grow, so we lose the innocence. Instead of losing ignorance and keeping the innocence, we lose the innocence and continue with the ignorance. Okay? So, that innocence we have to retain. Innocence is heart. And intellection, means logic, etc., is the head. So, we become very logical. We call it rational. You should be rational. You see, when I was talking about logic versus love, one student asked me, I was stunned by the question. The question is, so Swami TV, you want us to be illogical? That is the question. I can never forget the question. My answer was, dear sir, you have thoroughly misunderstood me. I am not asking you to be illogical. I am asking you, don't live a life of logic. Better you live a life of love. That is what I am saying. You have misunderstood it. You should not be illogical. But at the same time, you cannot allow logic to dictate life to you. If you allow logic to dictate the life, you will become a very harsh, demanding person and very logical and very rational who doesn't know any love. You should not be a head person. We are born as heart persons, and then gradually as we grow, we lose that innocence. And we lose that meekness also. That meek is a biblical expression. So I will come to it in one of these classes. So we lose all that innocence, that gentleness, gentle, and that meekness. Meekness means the ability to surrender, to allow things to happen. Let the higher power take over. Let me not assert myself. That is the meekness. That is the innocence. And so that innocence we lose, and we become very assertive, self-assertive, and very logical, very calculating, very rational. So that is what we become. And that is the formula for samsara. We become pakka samsaris. And that is how we get caught in the bondage of samsara. Now what is spirituality? Spirituality is reversing this journey. From heart to head, you reverse the journey from head to the heart. And that's why bhakti You see, karma versus bhakti. You look at karma versus bhakti. So bhakti is devotion, love, that is heart. Karma is a vidhi. Vidhi means the mandate, thou shalt. And the sequence, the protocol, perfectly to be performed. Should not violate even a bit. If you violate, it becomes sin, and you have to atone for it. Khabardar. That is the vidhi, that is the karma. Karma, does it sound like head or heart? It sounds like head. You should love. You have to perform the karma with love. You should do it. With attention, you should do it. The offering that you should put in the fire, you have to do it with love and with devotion, you have to do it. That sounds like heart. And therefore, a life which is full of head without any heart is a very despicable life. And similarly, karma, all karma only, but no devotion. That is called kevala karma. That kind of a karma is not considered valuable. Karma requires head. Without a head, there can be no karma. But the karma originating from the head should be balanced with the love that originates in the heart. Not only you offer a flower because you have to offer a flower, therefore you offer a flower. Not only you do that, but also you offer the flower with love, with gentleness, and with a sense of surrender. So all of that comes from the heart. And so this is guhyaṃ, means there is nothing to be done here. It is only you contemplate in the heart, means you allow that innate love for the truth to express itself in the heart. That is called upāsana. So guhyaṃ and sanātanam. Karma is time bound, whereas upāsana is timeless, because in that contemplation there is no time. In the logic of the mind, in the movement of the brain cells, in the producing a thought process, in that process there is time. Time is encased in thought. The other way, thought is encased in time, whereas love is timeless. When there is love, there is no time. Einstein was asked, what is the theory of relativity? Time is relative, not absolute. What does it mean? So he replied, when you are sitting in a park, so gossiping or whispering with your beloved, 1 hour goes like a minute. Whereas when you are sitting on a hot stove, 1 minute appears as 1 hour. That is the theory of relativity. That is what he said. I have put it in my words. That is the theory of relativity. Therefore, the thought is encased in time. It is always in time. Whereas love has no time. That love originating in the heart, it is beyond time. So advaitam sukhadukhayor adhigatam sarvasvavasthasu. In all states of mind, in all states of life, the love flourishes. It is sanātanam. It is timeless. In fact, the entire creation is born out of logic or out of love? Out of love. The creation has its origin in love, not in logic. Okay? Therefore, sanātanam, that is the upāsana in the heart. śṛṇu guhyaṃ sanātanam. And once you have this love in your heart, this upāsana in your heart, then you are sure to defeat all the enemies. Who are the enemies? Enemy, me and mine, that is the enemy. Ahankara and mamakara. Then the ahankara comes with a variety of emotions which are all inimical in nature, like desire, fear, anger, frustration, envy, jealousy, spite, hatred, ill will. Enough, you know. These are all the enemies. And with that love, with that upāsana, now I am introducing the word upāsana. So you contemplate in the heart with love on the Godhead. That is called upasana. Why it is upasana? So, upasana literally means to make the mind sit close to God. So take the mind from here, let it come down, descend, because there is no God here. Here is the jiva, here is the deva. This is the seat of jiva, me and mine. So let the mind abandon the seat of jiva and come down, descend to the seat of deva. And let the mind sit there. Means become silent. Even in that silence, there is a difference. You see, the silence is also different. Suppose there is a wonderful music followed by silence, and there is a lot of cacophony, all kinds of useless noise, followed by silence. There is a difference between the two, this silence and that silence, right? Therefore, you take the mind and force it to become silent. You induce the silence. Now, O mind, you cannot move. I ask you not to move. So I am holding the breath, not exhaling anymore. Hold it inside. When you hold the breath inside fully, now the mind will not move. Suppose you hold somebody with the hair and put the head under water. Will he be able to think now? He will not be able to think. Same thing, kumbhaka, you will not be able to think. The mind is stunned into silence. It is not that kind of silence that we need. We don't need that silence. That kind of a silence which follows the stunning of the mind. Means the silence that you induce in the mind purposefully, forcibly, you induce the silence. And there are mechanisms to do that, the yogic mechanisms. When I say yogic, I mean hatha yoga. And so that is not the silence which we are talking about. We are talking about the silence which happens naturally. You allow the mind to become silent. Let it become silent. You don't induce silence. You take care that you are not inducing the silence. You just wait for the mind to become silent. If it comes out with a thought, don't condemn it. Oh, I am supposed to be silent. Why there is a thought? Don't condemn it. Don't justify. Don't cling to the thought. Then what will happen to the thought? It goes. Thought doesn't come. Thought goes. It goes. We think thought comes. That is our problem. Thought doesn't come. Thought goes. It is like a bubble. If you sit by the side of a tank, water tank, or a water body, a small water body. So you sit, suddenly you see a bubble coming up. Is it coming or going? It is going. Some gas is formed inside underneath the bed, and that the gas forms the bubble, and it is going. It is going, it is not coming. But we say it is coming. Same is the case with thought. There are vasanas, and out of those vasanas, a bubble comes up. That is the thought. We say it comes up. It is not coming, it is going. But we cling to it. That is our problem. So stop clinging to the thought. Allow it to go. Thought doesn't come, thought goes. Allow it to go. Don't condemn, don't justify. Don't cling, allow it to go. The mind becomes silent. So tell yourself, I invoke the love which is very innate to me. My swarupa is love. And I bring the love out. I invoke it. And I abide in the heart with love. You say that to yourself. And you abide in that silence which is divine. The silence is divine. I am struggling with this. You fix it for me. Okay, yeah, now it is good. Sound is coming good for everybody. Only for me, I am only struggling with it. That is my problem. I am looking at the watch also, please don't mind. Therefore, you practice this upasana, guhyaṃ sanātanam. With the help of this upasana, you will be able to defeat all your enemies. The enemies which I have told you, kama, krodhadi, shatru, they are the enemies. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhavaha, mahāshano mahāpāpma, vidhyena miha vairinam. That is the Ravana that you have to kill. So, mahāshanaha, that is Bakasura. Mahāpāpma, that is Aghasura. Another name, Ravanasura. Okay? What is Ravanasura? Ravayati te Ravanaha. He persecutes, he afflicts. Dukkha deta hai. That's why he is called Ravanaha. Therefore, that is the enemy. And Rama is the Atma. Atma Ramaha virajate. Kamakrodhadi shatrun nihanya. Having defeated or destroyed the enemies like Kama, Krodha, etc., Atma Ramaha virajate. The Rama, who is the Atma, or which is the Atma, it is shining brilliantly. Shining brilliantly means self-shining, knowing itself. So that is the verse. So I am teaching you that upasana. Hey Rama, you please practice this upasana. Suppose you make Rama into a god, even before the upasana begins, Rama is the god. Then what Rama will do now? What upasana he will do? So you should not make Rama into a god. You should keep Rama as a human being. Valmiki's Rama is not a god. Valmiki's Rama is an ideal human being, an ideal son, ideal brother to his half-brothers, ideal husband to his beloved Sita, ideal friend to Sugriva, ideal enemy to Ravana. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha is the embodiment of righteousness. He tells Ravana in the last battle, he tells Ravana, hey Ravana, nothing is yet lost. You are following the path of adharma. That will destroy you, not so much that I am going to destroy you. However powerful you may be, the adharma that you are following, it will destroy you. You can still save yourself. So you become remorseful. So people should be remorseful. Not in public. When the person is alone, the person should recollect the mistakes that were committed earlier due to ignorance, and he should feel the remorse and cry bitterly for all the wrong things done before the God who is in the heart. Invoke the God in the heart, cry before that God and surrender yourself. Be remorseful and love the God in the heart. That is called upasana. So, therefore, Rama tells Ravana, it is time. Nothing is yet completely lost. You can still live your life. You can still go back and rule the kingdom of Lanka. I'm not going to desire your kingdom. I do not covet your kingdom. It is your kingdom, you go and rule. Only one thing, allow Sita to come to me. I will go my way to Ayodhya. And I don't have any enmity towards you. That is what Rama says. So Rama is an enemy, an ideal enemy. So that is the glory of Rama. And so Rama is a human being. That is the point. He is a human being. Suppose he is God, then he forgives Ravana. What is great in it? God is supposed to forgive anyway. Suppose he defeats Ravana. That is also not a very great thing, because God he is. So making Rama into a god at the very beginning itself, it defeats the very purpose of the epic. And the very flow of the epic gets destroyed. It is called rasabhangaha. The rasa, the karuna rasa. So Ramayana is filled to the brim with karuna rasa. And all that rasa becomes a make-believe silly thing if Rama is made into God at the very beginning itself. We should not do that mistake. That is what people do. Anyway, that is the Purana. Therefore, so He Rama, you practice this upasana. So, now what is the upasana? As I told you, upa-asana. So you make the mind sit close to God. That is upasana. So upasana is the state of mind. It is a particular state of mind in which the vision of God penetrates every pore of the body. You are saturated with the divine nectar. This is the language, That language, you have to realize it. You have to realize means realize. You have to make it real for yourself. Means you should be able to put aside this logic and rationality for a while. That doesn't mean you become irrational. That is not what it means. And you be loving. You invoke the love from your heart. That is the beginning of upasana. So the divine nectar, and the heart is filled with the joy of divinity. You have to do that. Now don't ask how. There is no how. Just do it. You advise yourself properly, you can do it. You see, in upasana, you can think of 1, 2, 3 stages. Like you take a piece of stone and put in the river, the flow of water. Then as long as the stone sits in the river, the water will be flowing on it and it remains wetted by the water. But the moment you take the piece of stone out of the water flow and put on the bank, put on the dry ground, it loses all its water and it becomes a dry piece of stone. Similarly, when we make it into an exercise, daily exercise, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I sit before God and contemplate upon God. Then the heart is filled with the love of divinity, the divine nectar, the heart is filled. But the moment you finish that daily exercise, like daily meditation, so you finish it and you come into the worldly life, you lose all the divinity. Again, all the samsara, the division, the fragmentary thinking, me and mine, not me, not mine, all of this will come back. And so you are a part-time bhakta. So for a short while, you are a devotee. And you have a place set for that. So in that place, when I sit in that place, I will have divinity in me. And time also fixed for it. Morning 6:30 to 7, I will practice divinity. Like that, a place and time, desha and kala. That place is gone, you come out of that place, and the time passes, and so you are back in the samsara. No more divinity. That is the first stage of upasana. There is a stage. Then the second stage of upasana, that means you are a piece of stone. Stone is what? Very hard, Hṛdaya, heart, there is a stone-like heart. So, my heart is a stone. A poet said like that somewhere. So means he doesn't know how to melt. So unless the heart is ready to melt, where is love now? Upasana is all about love. And so that is the first stage, that is stone-like heart. The second stage is, you take a piece of cloth and put in the Ganga waters. Now the cloth becomes entirely wetted by the water, filled with water. In every pore of the cloth, water is there. In every fiber, the water is the fiber is soaked in water. But when you take it out, still it retains the water and continues to retain the water for an hour, 2.5 hours, 3 hours also it retains water. And then it becomes dry. So similarly, you practice that upasana, the meditation, the contemplation in the heart, and you come out of your daily exercise of contemplation, but still you continue to be contemplative, awareful, contemplative. And the me and mine will come much later in the day. A little me and mine for bhiksha sake you need it. Therefore that will come at the time of bhiksha. For doing some service to the other person, some me and mine is required, so that comes. Like that, the jiva lakshana, the characteristic of a limited person, they will come based on the requirement, they will come later. But you retain the love of the divinity in the heart for a length of time, not just fitted into a given place and time only. That is the second stage of upasana. And finally, in the third stage of upasana, it is like you are like a salt crystal put in water of Ganga. The salt crystal, it just dissolves and merges in the Ganga. It doesn't come out into its state of separateness. That is the third stage. So, like, why salt? You say sugar candy is put a piece of sugar candy. So put into the waters of Ganga, it merges. So like that, you are in the divinity all through the day, all through the week and month, all through the life. You retain that divine love in your heart. An adversary also comes before you, and you still continue to love the adversary, the God shining in the heart of the adversary also. Therefore, there is no more a friend or foe. There is only the divinity in all, in everything, everywhere. That is the third stage of upasana. Therefore, in simple words, to remember God is upasana. Take care that remembrance of God, that should not leave the heart. So keep it going. While seeing, pashyan, shrunvan, spurushan, jigharan, unmishan, nimishan napi. That is what Gita says. In breathing, in talking, holding on to something, in giving, in taking. So opening the eyes, shutting the eyes, all through this. Gita verse number 9 in the 5th chapter. So all through this, you retain, all through all actions of the day, you retain the divine love. That is the upasana. So, hey Rama, you pursue such upasana, I am going to teach you, and you will be able to defeat the enemy. In this case, the enemy happens to be Ravanasura in the story, but I am taking it as the symbolic one only. Here it is Aditya Hṛdayam, you know. We are not doing Yuddhakanda Purana. We are doing Aditya Hṛdayam. So it is the upasana. Now that verse, let us finish it. So, very simple arrangement of words. Rāma Rāma mahābāhō guhyaṃ sanātanam śṛṇu. That is the first sentence. Very simple. Yena means by which. Vatsa, dear son. So you see how Agastya is addressing Rama. Hey Vatsa, dear son. So Rama is a young man, only that much. A great warrior in the given context. Vatsa, dear son. So Agastya is saying, by pursuing this upasana, even for a short time, you will be able to defeat all your enemies in the battlefield. Yena, he Vatsa, yena samarē sarvān arīn vijayishyasi. In some books, you may find vijayishyase. Vijayishyasi is parasmaipadi. Vijayishyase is atmanepadi. Both readings are there. Because in these written copies, sometimes it is E, sometimes it is A. Both are equally correct. Okay? So that finishes the verse. Let us say the verse. Rāma Rāma mahābāhō śṛṇu guhyaṃ sanātanam yena sarvānarīn vatsa samarē vijayishyasi Āditya Hṛdayam punyam sarvashatru vināshanam Jayāvaham japen nityam. In some books you have japam nityam. Is it so? Is it not so? Japen nityam. But in some books you do not have as japam nityam. No. You have japam nityam also. Both are there. Akshayam paramam shivam. In some books it is akshayam paramam shivam. Okay? Both are equally correct. These are called Patha Bheda. Means there is a manuscript somewhere in the South India, and there is another manuscript coming from Lahore. It is called Lahore manuscript. Very famous manuscript. The original manuscripts in the 16th, 17th century, these manuscripts which are written on palm leaves, they were taken and printed after the printing press was discovered. And so in these manuscripts, some variations will be there. As long as the variations are fitting into the grammar and the flow of the verse, they are kept. But if it is wrong, then it is the lekhaka doshaha. Somebody writing made a mistake and it has to be corrected. So these are all variations. So now this upasana, it is called Aditya Hṛdayam. You see, this is called pratikopasana. I'll be talking about pratikopasana tomorrow. I just uttered the word. So in the Vedic rishis, this is all about Vedic rishis, because Agastya is a Vedic rishi. Rāma belongs to the Vedic times. The entire religion and culture is that of the Vedas. In Vedas, God is worshipped in the earth, Prithvi, in the waters, Apaha, in the fire, Agnihi. So Rigveda starts with the praise of Agni. Agnimide, Purohitam, like that Rigveda begins. Agni, and then Vayu. So in the Upanishads, we have the Vayu Upasana. It is called Pranopasana, not called Vayu Upasana. The Pranaha is Vayuhu. So Pranopasana, most important Upasana in the entire Upanishadic literature. So Prana, and then Akasha Upasana is not there. It is not so important. So there, you may meditate upon Akasha, but Akasha is not taken as an altar for worshipping God. Generally not. Okay, Akasha is reserved for meditation, Vedantic meditation. Buddha Bhagavan, he meditated upon Akasha. And so he did not pursue these upasanas and all that. He directly went to meditation upon Akasha. Therefore, these are four altars: Prithvi, Apaha, Agnihi and Vayuhu. And then sun and moon. Suppose you count Akasha. Now how many have become? 7. 5 plus 2, 7. Panchabhutas, the sun and moon, 7. And you are the 8th, Ashtamurti. This is the Ashtamurti Upasana. In the present context, you are the one who is doing Upasana, so put yourself aside. This is not Advaita Atmajnanam, this is Upasana. Put yourself aside. Only temporarily. You are like sugar candy which melts in the Ganga waters, okay? But presently, you have that love for the Upasana. Therefore, put yourself aside. Put the Akasha aside. Now you have 4 plus 2. And among these 4 plus 2, the sun is considered the most important altar other than fire and waters. In the present times, they do sacred bath. They take sacred bath in the rivers, etc. So that sacred bath in the rivers of Ganga, Godavari, etc., it has its origin in the Vedic worship of water or waters as an altar of God. Okay? So, what is an altar and how we have to worship God in the altar, and what is the relation between this altar and God? So, these are the things which have to be carefully addressed. And this kind of a worship is called pratika upasana. It should not be confused with idolatry. It is not the same as idolatry. Because this issue I have to discuss, but having mentioned it, I am saying it. In idolatry, you look at God as located in the idol only and nowhere outside the idol. That is called idolatry. That comes under the category of faith. And a Mahatma says, blind faith also, he says. Whereas in pratikopasana, the approach is different. So, Brahma drishtirutkarshat. That is a Brahma Sutra. So these things I will discuss in tomorrow's class. Purnamada Purnam.